Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
Over the last 7 years, we have consistently released weekly episodes focusing on
obstacle course racing, running, and other adventures.
You'll hear interviews, event recaps, conversations about our sport,
quick news updates about happenings in our community.
And now, here are your hosts,
Standing on the corner,
Michael Stefano and Caitlin Ritter.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Caitlin Ritter. And Mikey, we're reunited.
Yeah, you were gone for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
You spent it with your family and your other side of the family. And I spent it with my family. We haven't done Thanksgiving I think we've done it like once or twice before.
No, Thanksgiving we've done a lot together.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, typically we go back and forth. But also, like, there was a Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert that I went to with my grandfather, and I didn't want to miss that again because I think I missed it last year. Sam tried to tell me because I had COVID, but I'm pretty sure it's because I was at World's Toughest last year.
No, it's because I missed it 2 years ago because I had the flu.
Yes, but why did I miss it last year?
You went to Thanksgiving with my family.
Oh. Okay, that's a reason to miss it, I guess. That makes sense.
But I saw Wicked.
Oh, you did?
I did, with my mom and Bonnie.
I just learned that it's like a part one of Wicked.
Yes, spoiler, they don't advertise it as Wicked Part 1, so you get to the end of the movie and it's to be continued.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that's pretty good. Not something that's up my alley, but...
It was actually, so I saw Wicked on Broadway when I was little, so I didn't really remember anything.
It's that old?
Yeah, that's so rude.
No, I just thought it was like a...
My Uncle Joe took Bonnie and I when we were little.
Okay.
But, seeing Wicked as an adult, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a different perspective.
I heard the movie's better than the show, which is a pretty big claim.
It's almost as long as the Era's movie.
Oh, Jesus. That's also pretty big. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors, though.
Mudgear, use code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase, and Caterpie, use code OCRReport20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase. And if you'd like to save 20% off your next Spartan, Deca, or Tough Mudder event, use code OCRReport20.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to the $3+ Patreon supporters, since it is literally the first day of the month.
Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Matt Putton, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Laura and Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Cheryl Miller, Jessica Johnson, Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Ashley Rice, Brent George, Justin Manning,
nice.
Logan Nagel, Angela Bowers, Thomas Peterson, Seth Rinderknecht, and Steve Bacon, a.k.a. the New England
OCR Expo. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. We greatly appreciate it. And to the OCR Report for being a great home for us on the internet.
And to Will Hicks,
the Podfather. Check it out over at theocrreport.com. It looks nice looking at the website, and it's like us, and us. I wish there was more.
I maintain
from
that
other people.
website.
Yes, you do. And it looks really cool. That's all World's Toughest Motor stuff right now, too. And also, shout out to Carlo, who's doing a cooking show.
I don't know if that's released.
I just saw a text.
But it's very entertaining. If you are friends with Carlo Piscatello, ask him to see his cooking show.
He's a very entertaining human being. Also, probably one of my biggest regrets, and I'll probably get into this more later, is that I wanted to do a whole part with OCR Report people. And I didn't get to talk to anybody. So I don't even know what I'm going to use for a picture for this week. I have one picture with Cory Edwards, but his eyes are closed. That's all I have for pictures of people that I interviewed with. Because you weren't there. Usually you're my picture person. Anyway, shout out to our sponsored athletes.
I think you meant to call me your picture bitch.
Pick bitch? Javier Escobar, who did in fact show up to World's Toughest Mudder. Kelly Sullivan, who's not done with Spartan.
You've been reading the same things for the last 3 weeks.
I know. Well, you can update these too.
Okay, well, shout out to our sponsored athletes. Javier Escobar, Kelly Sullivan, Ryan Brizzalara, Joshua Reed, Kevin Gregory.
Yeah. Poll results.
You did a poll.
I did do a poll. Stand by.
Mike asked, have you seen them before? Them being the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And 50% of people said yes, 43% of people said no, and 1% of people said never heard of them.
Yes. 1% was someone that was not from the United States, so I reached out to him and said, hey, you should probably check them out. It's not just Christmas music. They have awesome, Beethoven. Beethoven's Last Night is my favorite. Which, fun fact, that's how I got my nickname Beethoven. Which, if you follow my personal account, you know that is one of my nicknames.
I think I also did a poll. Did we do this last week?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
And we have a meme. Nothing at all related to OCR, but I liked it, and especially goes with my news last week of how I went, what was it? Retail therapy? So I found it, which means Caitlin has to describe it. I think I've shown this to you, too.
So it's a panel of a man in a black hoodie entering a store with white gloves on, and it says, Ultra Gaming Setup. And then the guy in the black is buying something, and the cashier is saying, great setup choice. What games do you play? And then, the guy in the black hoodie, it turns out, is that the Grim Reaper?
It is the Grim Reaper.
Turns out to be the Grim Reaper, and he is holding up his new game. Is it a mirror?
It's like 3 screens.
Oh, okay.
It's like a setup where you have like a TV in front, TV to the left, TV to the right, and you set up so you can see all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it says, it's not for gaming. And then, that's so cute. The Grim Reaper has... Are those pigs?
No, that's Cerberus. The 3-headed dog that guards hell.
Oh.
But it's him as a puppy.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
And the puppies are looking at the 3 screens. That's really cute.
So good.
What were they called? Cerberus?
Cerberus.
Cerberus? I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I've always been really big into like gods and stuff. So.
Which is weird.
Well, many gods. I'm not getting any more messages written in, so... Moving on to quick news. Starting off with a shout out to Charlotte Curtis, who is now 6 years sober.
Congratulations on your sober anniversary.
Yeah, she posted. It may have been a little touch and go this year, but we made it. I'm forever grateful to wake up sober another day and to the morning chalk off another year. This was definitely a uniquely challenging, tragic, yet also rewarding and revealing year for me. The best gift I gave myself was staying sober. By far, it is one decision I will never forget. And if you notice, like we talk about sobriety a lot on this show. I drink occasionally, Caitlin drinks occasionally, but it's just another fight that people are fighting, and I want to give credit to that when people are doing good work with that. Next up is a news story from Amy Pajic, who admittedly hasn't been in the sport for a while, but we miss and love her.
Amy Pajic posted, Alex and I are adding to the family. Meet Dante. We've been lucky enough to visit and watch him grow from a little potato to a small dog, and today he comes home. Oh my gosh.
So I 100% thought it was a baby announcement, and I was very confused.
Is that why they don't do x-rays of pregnant women? Because that's what it would look like.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
My gosh, there's a lot of puppies in there.
Yeah, if you see an x-ray of a baby, it looks like an absolute monster.
That's so cute. Oh, look at all the puppies!
Yeah. Next up, we have a new story that comes from Sarah. Well, I forgot her maiden name now. That's how Harrison, I think, was her maiden name. Now it's Cowden. She's posted, surprise, we are overjoyed and a little nervous to announce baby girl coming May 2025. See slide 5 for John's reaction. Oh, I haven't seen that. And watch the videos with audio for the laughs.
Ryan Kempson posted, Coda Robin Kempson, 11/25/2024. And he goes, that's a wrap for week 1. What a blur filled with love from friends and family. He's a lucky dude.
Yeah, congratulations to him and his wife, Courtney.
Oh, somebody's crying meeting them.
Oh, really?
So sweet. I can't wait to meet our friends' babies.
I know. We just got all the shots for that, too. Next up, this comes to us from Feisty Media, and it says, the definition of badass. And it says, Danny Felipic set a Guinness World Record in the mile run at the Detroit Marathon with a time of 6 minutes and 41 seconds, which you'd say, like, that's not a record for the mile. It is when you're pushing a triple stroller, so congratulations to her.
That's insane.
Yeah. This is one that I wanted to talk about a while ago, but I finally remembered it. There's an event being called World's Toughest Grand Canyon Rim Job, which is I know. Well, it's rim to rim. It's a World Grand Canyon thing. And it sounds like it's some people that want the World's Toughest Mudder experience of, like, kind of getting together with the community, and it's going to be taking place November 15th at 11 a.m. I guess the time doesn't really matter too much. November 15th and November 16th, the typical World's Toughest Mudder time. I do hope that, I mean, that's a financial thing as well, but I hope that people aren't just being like, hey, this is, a good replacement for World's Toughest Mudder. If financially it's not viable to go over to Beaver Castle, then fine. But I do hope that people take the time to come over to Beaver Castle. But yeah, if you want to do this in addition to that, or instead of that, if finances aren't too great right now, that sounds like a pretty cool time. Next up, I think my grandfather sent this to me, but it is a 73-year-old man who ran a marathon barefoot, wearing traditional, like, Greek Spartan clothes. And a shield and a sword.
And he's barefoot.
I think I already said that. Very, very cool.
He ran it in 8 hours and 47 minutes.
Yeah, nuts. And last, we have the Spartan Beast World Championships podiums.
For the pro men, in third place, Thibault Jean.
Tybalt.
In second place, Richard Hynek. And in first place, Gregory Basilico.
Yeah.
And for the women, in third place, Zuzana
Kosamova.
In second place, Nicole Miracle. And in first place, Elisa Petrova.
Yeah, I did not follow any of that. But, yeah, looks like a lot of French athletes. Congratulations to them.
And then for the Beast World Championship...
Wait, that was...
Oh.
Yeah, that's age group.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Which age group's still important, which is we don't have time to talk about that for all the episodes.
That's a lot of names for me.
Yeah, it is a lot of names. Secret link, there's 5 of them down below, so go and check those out. But let's finally get to what this episode is all about. So, World's Toughest Mudder, Part 4, Monday Bar Crawl Interviews. The final part of our World's Toughest Mudder coverage. So, the event finally feels like it's kind of coming to an end now. So, I'll have to get that, like, yearly post that I put out about it.
Just in time for us to go to Europe.
Yeah, almost. So now you'll hear interviews with Joe Rucco and Andrew Robinson, James Golisano, Joe Perry and Cory Edwards, Abby Pires, Kevin VanderWoude, Josh Fiore, Preston, Christian Brown Johnson, Grant Polson, Tina Esson, Todd Esson, Melissa Dugan, James Verde, Deanna Brasz, and Jules Estes. So over 80 interviews in total over these 3 episodes. I always say it at the end of episodes, but I'm going to say it before the interviews. I hope you share these if you enjoy them, because I put a lot of work into this, and it'd be great if more people would listen like they used to. But let's get to all of those interviews now.
We'll just start off with your name and where you're from.
Joe Rucco, Gansevoort, New York.
I'm Andrew Robinson from New Zealand.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
Not as planned, but still hit the goal of 100, so I guess well.
Exactly as planned. I hit the goal of 100, so it went well.
Why aren't you wearing a super ugly jacket right now?
I thought about wearing it. I want to celebrate other people's achievements just as much as my own. I kind of got my celebration. I came here for an orange blazer. I got it, and I can go home with it, and I can be proud of that.
Yeah.
But I find that the conversation always leads to the 100 as opposed to their 75 or their 50, and they worked just as hard for it. We just went a little bit further, so that's my logic.
Oh, I like it. What did you think of the course this year?
I liked it. A lot of it was pretty runnable, I thought, which was good. I hated the sand, but that slowed people down, and I think that made for a tougher course. The obstacles I thought were good, but I guess I was expecting them to be beefed up a little bit more, for like a true World's Toughest Mudder experience. But overall, I think it was really good. I liked it.
I second the sand. The sand was horrible. I've already told Everett that he's never to put sand in a race again. I figured the obstacles probably could have been bigger and tougher, but in the same breath, I think there was other obstacles out there which made it hard enough. The heat definitely threw a lot of people out. The sand was everything that you needed it to be for a tough obstacle course race. Combined, with the sand, the heat, and then the moisture from all the wet obstacles, it was tough enough. 100%, yeah.
And how does it feel to finally hit your goal of 100 miles?
Fantastic. I saw Ryan Atkins put a blazer on in 2016, and I've kind of dreamed about it ever since, so... I'll probably go into a deep depression because I have no idea what to do now. But I've kind of been leaning towards adventure racing since COVID happened. I kind of got stuck at home, and so I've been doing a lot of mountain biking and stuff. And I'll probably start leaning back into that a little bit more. Bit of stage racing, bit of bike packing, but yeah, we'll see.
Real quick, adventure racing. What turned your eye to that? Was that Ryan Atkins again?
No. I don't even know if he was into adventure racing, or I don't know if I'd seen Eco Challenge, which was in 2021.
Done in 2020, aired in 2021, I think.
Was it? Yeah, so my first race was in 21, so I'd been training for 18 months already. And in New Zealand, I can't remember whether we invented it in France or some French people invented it in New Zealand, but New Zealand has a tie to being kind of the home of adventure racing, and we have the land and everything, so...
And some of the best athletes for too.
Yeah, I think because of the terrain, like it just kind of leans itself towards it. And I actually get a lot of people asking me, like, why is there not obstacle racing in New Zealand? I'm like, New Zealand is enough of an obstacle in its own kind of thing. Like when you're scrambling up mountains and those sorts of things, you don't need to add more challenges to it. So, yeah.
And Joe, you were able to get 100 miles, but you said things didn't go according to plan. What kind of happened?
So at the beginning of the race, my body kind of shut down on me a little bit.
Related, do you think?
Probably. I was having trouble getting food down, and so that kind of slowed me down a little bit. And I got to a point where I essentially was just taking liquid calories and no food at all. And that it kept me going enough, but ended up linking up actually with Andrew for a while at night, and he kind of pulled me through a couple laps, which was good. And then some instant mashed potatoes kind of opened the door for me and got the legs moving again and was able to kind of kick it into gear in the second half and kind of woke things up. So turn it around.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw a little Rucco out there too.
You sure did, yeah. My son was able to come for this one, which was awesome. The first race he went to was a couple weeks ago in Dallas, and so this was fun to have him there. He was there for the start, went home, slept overnight, because you don't want a 2-year-old cranky for that long, and then came back in the morning and was there at the finish, which was really cool to have.
Yeah. Going back to the obstacles, what were you using your bands on out there?
My one was primarily on Kiss of Mud. And for me, it was just mental. Like, it wasn't massively time-consuming or anything, but you finish the course and you go through a whole lot of beautifully clean water, and then you come out, you're clean, you feel fresh, you go into your pit, you get some food, and then they want to send you through sandy water, and then you've got to go 3 miles dry from that. I was like, nah. For me, it was just mental. Like, if I skip that, it means that I get 3 miles of running clean, and it was just a lot better for me mentally.
I hadn't heard that come up too much as an obstacle to skip, but that's a good reason why. What were you using your bands on?
So I saved them for most of the course until the end, but when I started using them, it was mostly on lumbersack to start, to cut off part of that sand piece, and then I did do Kiss of Mud a couple times and Pyramid Squeeze once.
I heard a lot of people using for Pyramid Squeeze. I was surprised. I heard a lot of people using for Arctic Enema too. How cold was that water?
It was cold, but I live in Queenstown and we have an alpine lake 5 minutes walk from my house, so it was just a regular morning dip. I mean, other than the ice cubes actually floating in the water, it was actually quite refreshing.
Yeah, I used it on it once, and it was, I ran up to it and I had watched them dump 5 bags of ice in as I was running up, and I was like, I don't need that this time. I can just run by it.
I will say, as they were opening it up, it took them 10 minutes to get all the ice in there because it was a massive, massive pallet. And then they threw a glow stick in there, and it didn't sink to the bottom or anything or float. It slid on the ice because it was just a solid sheet of ice when they put it in there. So I'm like, that's going to be tough for the first people out there. But overall, what are your thoughts of it going to Beaver Castle next year?
I'm indifferent. I live on the other side of the world. I think it'll be amazing to finally take it out of America. It is world's toughest mudder, so it's nice to mix that up. It'll open it up to a lot of people in Europe who would probably be fantastic at it, but maybe can't, they've got kids and they can't jump the pond to get here. But, I mean, from New Zealand, it just adds an extra 12 hours of flying, so kind of takes it away from me more than gives it to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that from a world's toughest mudder perspective, moving it around is a good idea. Not necessarily just the US and the UK. I think even other places, having this move opens it up to bring it elsewhere as well. I think for me personally, I would love to go. I'm going to have to weigh that cost and time commitment for it.
You're your dad too.
Exactly, yeah. And, potentially next year for kid number 2. So, that kind of throws a wrench into things as well. So, going to have to weigh that.
And I guess final thoughts on why you're here, why you love the community so much.
Oh, it's great. I love being out there in the race, helping other people. I usually, when I go in Block Nest, right, I sit in there for a couple minutes every lap and try to help people over. It's not just to dive over, go to the next one type of thing. So I love being able to help and chatting with people while I'm walking and running and all that stuff. It's just a great vibe overall and community feel, and everybody's supporting each other. It's just different than anything else.
Final thoughts, why do you love the Tough Mudder community so much?
There's no words for that can really describe it. Firstly, the volunteers, the people who get out there and help us over obstacles. I couldn't have done 100 miles without some of those guys.
Right.
Secondly, the other athletes. Like I was with Joe and I was with another guy, Brock. We ran together for maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we were all gunning for 100 miles. We were all realistically gunning for a top 10 place. And in no other sport would you find 3 top 10 athletes who are all feeling kind of down in the dumps and go, do you know what we should do? We should get together, create a pity party, move as quickly as is comfortable for the slowest person, and just see if we can figure it out. And when I first saw Brock struggling, he was like, oh, mate, you go ahead. Like don't worry about me. I was like, man, I need you as much as you need me.
Right.
And then Joe caught up with us later on, and it just, that's probably the biggest thing is 100%. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys, and great seeing you out there.
Thanks. Thank you.
James Golisano from New Hampshire.
How did World Toughest Mudder go for you?
Honestly, it was an excellent race. The temperature was one of the greatest gifts we've had for years. Did start out a little bit hot, but as soon as that heat died out a little bit and it started getting dark, you could kind of turn up your own personal heat and get moving.
Yeah. And how did that play a role in your mileage this year?
Honestly, I set a PR for this year. I've been trying for the Dirty Brown Bib for a long time, and this year I finally hit 55 miles. Might have been able to get 60, but my body wasn't cooperating because it's not used to being able to do that.
Fair. And I don't know, what did you think about the course itself?
Honest truth, I love Tough Mudder. I thought the course was very basic. It was more designed like a basic Tough Mudder, which rightfully so. They did host the regular Tough Mudder on there, and they made a few modifications to 3 of the obstacles that I can think of off the top of my head. But those obstacles weren't anything too far out of the ordinary of what we've seen in past years. So nothing new and innovative. I missed the Innovations Lab.
So what were some of the alterations that you noticed from like the regular Tough Mudder?
Let's see, Ladder to Hell had the wall put onto it with the rope climb over, which is very much like Balls to the Wall, if anybody remembers that from years past. The Berlin Wall was turned into the Irish tables, which is like the level up for Worlds that we usually get. And then the only other one that comes to mind is Pyramid Scheme with the cargo net on it.
Pyramid Squeeze.
Yeah.
A little bit of a change up there.
Absolutely.
I agree. It didn't have the wow factor of like a Twin Peaks or the Stacks or
Double Rainbow
or the Slide or anything. Usually it has something like that.
Oh, there used to be some serious things. Leap of Faith, the one where you had to launch off and land on the cargo net above the water. That one I think broke bones. It was thoroughly intimidating, but yeah, we don't have that fear factor anymore. So.
No, you're right. But even still, did well. It doesn't belittle anyone's accomplishment. You still had to do that mileage.
Yeah, the mileage was the mileage for everybody out here. We did have perfect conditions for it, though. So, I see a better mileage across the board for most people I'm talking to.
Yeah. And then thoughts on it going to Beaver Castle next year?
I'm excited that they are getting out there. I'm disappointed that I personally can't make it just because of the season shift. My biggest work is in the summer, and that's when it's going to be.
But and the final thoughts on why you love the Tough Mudder community so much?
There's no community like this community. That's why I love it so much. You will not find this kind of this caliber of people that will stop and or give up time on their own race to help you get through your race.
Yeah. Love it, man. Good seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
Name and where you're from.
I know this. We're gonna go with Joe Perry in Canada.
Yeah.
Cory.
Okay. Cory Edwards, Rye Grand, Ohio.
And how was World Toughest Mudder for you this year?
Before I ran it or after I ran it?
We'll go during.
During? Well, there was some pain. More pain after finishing, but the during part was okay and fun until it wasn't, and then it became fun again.
What are we talking for pain? Nothing like serious. Just
No. It's the lovely pain that I cherish and makes me come back year after year to get it again, right?
How's the course treating you?
It was good. The heat got to me a little bit, but it was good. I met my goal, so I'm happy. Really happy.
What did you end up getting for mileage?
75.
How you feeling about it?
I'm glad I got 75. Yeah.
Yeah, my goal was 75, and I got that. So super happy, super pumped.
What were your thoughts on the obstacles that they had on the course for this year?
Yeah, they were good. It was nice this year because we could use our hands the entire time because we weren't cold and they weren't wet. Some were a little bit damp, but it wasn't bad. So they were all doable. which was mentally reassuring too, because it's not a matter of, oh, I can't get that obstacle at all. So at least like, I can probably try that one again. So it was nice to know that it was still an obstacle course race and not just a walk. So keeping the obstacles in play a longer time was nice.
Yeah, I agree. The obstacles were great. No big issues. I mean, after doing them 5 or 6 times, I started failing stuff, but, so.
It was whenever I got my phone out.
Yeah, you got me on well swung when I missed the bell, just barely.
It was funny. I got so many notifications. Cory mentioned you. I'm like, oh, that's a lot. I'm like, oh, I took a lot of videos of Cory. So, hey, you're welcome / I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
And you had your famous or infamous face painting. What did you have for this year?
I guess it was an alligator.
Yeah.
See, I just sit down in the chair and then people do things to my head. Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't know. So a gator seemed like an appropriate idea.
Yeah. And it looked great.
Thanks. Yeah. I threatened to bite people if they got in my way, and it works. So
whatever it takes. And then thoughts on just the Tough Mudder community. How's it feeling?
Oh, it was great. Volunteers, everybody out there is just awesome.
Yeah. How did you experience the community? What did you think about the volunteers out there in course? Any that stuck out to you?
Oh yeah, I mean they were all fabulous. Like I kept wanting to thank more of them and more, like every time. But yeah, this is family. Like this community is the best, bar none. I know people say it all the time, but really, where can you go to get such a collection of people and we all have the same like-minded spirit and pushing each other? It's not a competition against each other. Yeah. We are all out there competing against the course together.
For goals,
yeah, and it's like most races aren't like that. It's a solo thing. This is not a solo event. You cannot do this by yourself. You need your competitors out there.
Yeah.
And it's just a weekend you never want to end. Like it's an experience you never want to end. People have said, are you going to the bar crawl? And I'm like, yes, hell yes I am. I want to hang out with all these people as long as I can.
It's like a continuation of the event in a way.
Yeah, and it's once a year. So you want it to last as long as it can possibly last. Yeah.
Just doing some simple math, if you get to see all of these people once a year, hopefully more than once a year, you only get to see them so many more times, so hell yeah, I'm going to the bar.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then thoughts on it going to Beaver Castle next year?
Oh, I'll go any place on planet Earth. And maybe elsewhere, too. They probably have to work on the gravity thing in some of these other planets, but oh yeah, anywhere. This is the meaning of life. This is the best 25 and a half hours of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So
I definitely want to go. I just haven't looked into it much yet. But I was talking to a couple guys. They were talking about you could just get on a train and take a train from the airport there. So it might be simpler to get to than I thought. So
everything that I've heard about Europe is they have very good public transportation.
Yeah.
And as someone that has only lived in the United States, I can't imagine what that is like.
Exactly right. Yeah, for sure.
They show up on time. It's not like a real So
So I need to look into it more, but I definitely want to go. So.
And then any advice that you'd like to give to someone that's thinking about trying World Surface Mudder for the first time?
Oh, it's life-changing. I mean, there are people here that did it the first time, and wow, how did you pull that off? But those of us that do this year after year after year, it's the highlight of our year. Yeah. And to do this and have this to look forward to, it is the most important event of the year, bar none. Like Christmas, screw that. Yep. This is it. I cannot think of a better day than this.
Absolutely.
Even if you come out here and just walk a lap, 2 laps, hang out in the pits. I mean, it's just the energy and just to meet the people is just, you can't even explain it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time to come out here and great seeing you guys.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Perfect.
Hi, I'm Abby Pires. I'm from northern Wisconsin, Eagle River.
And what's this crazy thing that you did this weekend? World's Toughest Mudder? How did that go for you?
Strangest thing. I wouldn't say strangest thing. Maybe coolest thing would be helping out at Mudderhorn while waiting for James to get to the finish line so we could all finish together.
Yeah.
I waited probably about an hour and a half for him. I had one more lap I could have gotten in, but I was hurting, and his timing was kind of behind me.
Yeah.
We all wanted to finish together. Him, Mike Cantor, his friend, and I, because we ran Pittsburgh together. So I helped out at Mudderhorn with Dave Didier.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever volunteering on an obstacle.
How cool is that to be share the course with not just people that are running it, but share the course with people that have donated their race to help others?
Emotional.
Yeah.
That is such an honor. That is so cool. And it was unexpected and unplanned. I mean, that doesn't happen in other sports.
Right. Yeah.
It's unique to Tough Mudder, and I think Tough Mudder specifically, but OCR.
And so preparing for your first World's Toughest Mudder, right? What's some advice that you got that went well and some advice that didn't really pan out as well?
Get in the miles as much as you can. Miles, work on your grip strength for all the overhead obstacles, and mental preparedness. I think more important than both of those things is your mental grit. and your stubbornness, your willpower to push through adversity and pain, because things happen that you don't plan on every single time.
Yeah, completely. I completely agree, because people think of like 50 miles, it's a huge like physical feat, and it is.
Right.
But like anytime your mind can be like, yeah, I'm done. And you have to keep telling yourself, no, I'm still going. So how was that? Did you have any like mantras, any dark places for you?
One foot in front of the other. I literally turned everything off in my brain except for that. I went in with that mantra. I don't care what I feel like. I don't care what's happening. One foot in front of the other until you get to the end, and the end is 24 hours. Yeah. I also had my son as motivation in the background. I was doing that whole race for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What did you think about the obstacles that they had in the course this year?
Clatter to Hell was my favorite. I don't feel like they were overly complex or like too challenging.
Yeah.
I think we could have gotten rid of Swamp Crossing. It just was a little.
Like, that's it, man.
Yeah, it was like 15 steps through a puddle carrying a tiki torch from my mom's backyard.
Also, some amount of those were like catching on fire. Like, I know the top's supposed to be on fire, but some of them like burst into flame. Did you see any of that?
I did not, but I heard that they were all in a pile on the ground on fire, and somebody had to alert the volunteer.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
So.
Some people, because like you hold it up straight and the fire goes up naturally, physics. But like you put it at an angle and it starts to turn, and some of them like would just spread down the thing and burst into fire. And someone's like, "What do I do?" And it's like you put it in the water. You gotta put that out. It's gonna keep spreading. Yeah.
There's water everywhere.
Exactly.
People were more worried about alligators. We didn't expect tiki torches to set on fire.
That's a good point.
Which, side note, we did see alligators.
How many did you see?
So one on the first lap, and then a couple laps later, there were 3. So it was dark out by the time. Actually, it wasn't the first lap. Sorry, it was at night. The first lap, once the sun went down, we saw a pair of like orange glowing like lights popped above the water, and I'm like, guys, I'm like, that's an alligator, and we stopped, and sure enough, it was, because it would dip down and it would come back up, and then a couple laps later, there were 3 of them out there, and I'm like, wait, so I scanned, and the one that was out there at first was a little bit closer to shore, and I scanned my headlight on him, and I could see his body like moving towards the water. So it was like after that point, I started scanning the shore every single time we went by, just to make sure they weren't coming up on land. But that was like the coolest thing ever. I love alligators.
Okay. I do not, and more than alligators, I don't like snakes either, and I was also worried about snakes.
Snakes freak me out. I didn't see any though. Yeah.
Happy to hear that. Yeah. But yeah, no, the alligators, like I saw it in the water, I'm like, that's cool. If I saw it in the grass, that's not cool.
You know, you can outrun them. That's the thing. It's good train. They have short bursts, yeah, and if they can't catch you, they're not gonna. They're not a cheetah. They're not gonna keep running after you. So don't aggravate it. Don't climb up on top of it and try to ride it.
In Wisconsin, what do you have for like? What's your parallel to alligators? Do you have like bears up there? What's in Wisconsin?
Ooh, probably bears. We have a ton of deer, but they're pretty harmless unless they come running at your car randomly. Porcupines.
Oh, okay.
We do have bobcats, actually.
There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah,
okay.
bobcats, but we don't see them too often. Yeah. But they will eat your chickens.
They see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then final thoughts on, how did it feel to cross the finish line for the last time?
For the last time?
Yeah, the last lap, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I think it takes a while to process the amount of things that are happening in that moment and everything that's going on. There's so many different emotions that you experience on course and while you're crossing and afterwards that I think it's hard to really hone in on one thing as you're crossing the finish line. I'm still processing it all. I still don't think I've fully realized that I just did 50 miles.
Yep, it's a weird feeling, but that's kind of what it feels like. And then thoughts on what makes the Tough Mudder community so great?
The community and the love, the natural love. Everyone's like family, and that's what's kept me coming back since 2016. I took a really long break, like a 6-year-long break after I had my son, and this is actually the first year that I've gotten back into it. Okay. And the thing that's brought me back to this and, hasn't pushed me to try any other OCRs is the community, the vibe. Yeah. Everyone's positive and loves each other and is there to help one another. The teamwork aspect is surreal. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, that's what makes you feel alive. Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the community, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and congratulations on 50 miles.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
My name is Kevin VanderWoude. I am from New Hampshire.
And how did World Service Mudder go for you this year?
It was one of those humbling experiences again. Yeah. It was so exciting. I had 40 miles in by midnight, and I thought I was on track for 75. Not that I was expecting it, but I thought, hey, it could be in the cards. Yeah. But when my stomach went south and I couldn't take in any more food or water or any nutrition at all, that next lap, that went pretty bad. I came in wandering and weaving all over the place like a drunken sailor.
That's how. Do you think it was like the heat? Do you think it was heat exhaustion? What do you think got to you?
I'm talking to everybody to try and find out. I think a combination of the heat, possibly overpacing, possibly the wrong drink and nutrition. Yeah. So all of those factors combined means it didn't work. I'm just lucky I got out there for a finisher lap. Right. I think you rounded off to 50.
Was it nausea for you?
Absolutely.
Do you know Jason Dupree?
I know the name.
Okay. He was the one that did the live stream. He suffered from something very similar to what you did, and it seemed that he wasn't getting enough salt. And he would be able to explain it better, but he's definitely a resource that I would talk to because he found out that he was basically putting his body into what's called hyponatremia, where you're drinking too much water but not enough salt, and your body just it just rejects it, and then you can't get any food and this and that, which is annoying because like your body needs more stuff and it won't accept more stuff. So hopefully it's that, and hopefully you can figure that out in the future.
Hypernutremia.
Yeah, nutremia.
Hypernutremia. I'm going to look it up because I drank a lot, and the only thing that I could stomach at 7 o'clock the following morning was Ritz crackers.
Interesting. Yeah, that could be it. Again, salt. Not a doctor, but yeah, salt. Salt could be the thing there. But what did you think of the course?
I loved the course. Obviously, it was easy. I mean, with regular obstacles instead of upgraded obstacles, that meant we had a high success rate. I think that helps account for a lot of our 75 milers. Yeah. Kudos to them. Right. But I trained for Ninja Warrior, so I was just happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah, I bet.
Absolutely.
Did you have to deal with any of the penalties? How did you do with the King of Swingers? Well swung.
Well swung. Interesting puzzle. Yeah. I deliberately wore shorts so that I'd have good spring. Made it on the first try. Ultimately, I had 2 failures thereafter because I was not smart enough to look if the bell chain had wrapped itself around its whatever the fuck it's hanging from.
Yeah, that's
so that means more observance on my part in the future. Yeah. Don't pick the lane that's got the bell wrapped around the arm.
Speaking of observations, did you observe any alligators out there in course?
Just one.
Just one, yeah?
Yep, one in the lake. He's just hanging out 100 feet offshore. He's just waiting off to pick off the weakest and the slowest, right? Well, fortunately, I wasn't that.
Yes. And you're here to tell the tale. And then just overall thoughts on World Toughest Mudder moving to Beaver Castle next year. Any plans to go, or...?
I'm really excited about it. Up until 2 days ago, I told everyone, I'm there, I'm going. But now my thought is, I need to unlock the nutrition puzzle.
Yeah.
And then when I do, then I will go.
Yeah, I hope Jason has that piece for you, definitely. And then thoughts on what makes Tough Mudder so great?
The teamwork on course, the fantastic attitude that people have. Yep. Obviously, the community, everybody says it. But yeah, because it's tough, and it's always different. It's different. I call World's Toughest Mudder a game of skill, a game of strategy, and a game of chance.
Yeah.
Less chance this time.
Yeah. And even still, nutrition, that could be up to chance too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, great seeing you, and congratulations on what you did get 50 miles.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to see
Joshua Fiore, Lebanon, New Hampshire.
Awesome. And how did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
Amazing. Second place. It was a huge win getting on the podium this year compared to last year.
Yes. So we don't have to delve into that. You can listen to last year's episode. How does it feel to not redeem yourself, because there's nothing left to redeem, but to finish in a way that you knew you could do?
It was awesome. I mean, I love this race. I love this community. Me and this race have had a little bit of a up and down with some bad moments, but honestly, it was awesome being out there, just watching everybody give their best, get all their accomplishments that they were going for. It was so great.
It was so great that you didn't finish once, you finished twice.
Yes, officially 110 miles, unofficially 150.
It was so funny because I've never seen that happen before. But Jack and the videographer were like, "Did you miss that? Yeah, you missed that too. Yeah. Can we have him do that again?" And so you did it again.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably my fastest lap. About 2 seconds lap.
And what do you think about the obstacles that they had on course this year?
It was fun. It was fun, definitely. A little bit tailored back from years past on the World's Toughest Mudder, but You know what? You do any obstacle over 24 hours, I don't care what it is, it's going to start getting hard. And they were fun. They had their OG Funky Monkey, which that's like one of my favorite obstacles of all time.
Yeah.
So I was so glad to do that over and over and over again.
Yeah, sure. And then, what are your thoughts on it going to Europe, England next year?
I think it's great. I've been saying this for years. I think any world championship race should go to different countries.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only fair to all other countries.
Yeah.
And it's more fun that way. You know, you get to travel. It's a destination. I love it.
I've never done a race on a course that has a castle. Have you?
Nope.
Pretty sweet.
That's good.
Do you think you'll be making the trip out there?
I got to let everything marinate over the next couple of days, whether I'm actually going to race or just go to pit and have fun. But I think regardless, I'll be there.
I think one barrier is the fact that it's not a year away, it's months away, you know?
I know that is kind of crazy. I think, you know, the running's there. It'll just be a recovery. If I do compete, it would just be recovering over the next month and then just kind of high gearing into training.
Yeah. And you've been doing World Toughest Mudder for a long time. Some advice that you would give to someone that's like looking to make the jump from 75 to 100?
So, I mean, the biggest thing is time on feet. I've said this time and time again. You know, you can't beat time on feet. You can be a great runner, but you have to put in that distance, and not even distance, but time. You know, every weekend doing at least like 3 to 4 hours. Like, I like to do back-to-back runs, so I'll do, you know, like I'll build, but it's built up. It'll be 10 miles Saturday, 10 miles Sunday, all the way up to like 30 miles Saturday, 30 miles Sunday. And that just like, that gives you that endurance for the second half of the race, which is where the real race begins.
That's the kind of stuff that seems like it would raise your floor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations on a job well done, and so much more rewarding to see you cross the finish line this year.
It felt like it, and it felt great to have you guys all out there, so thank you for being there.
Preston, I'm from Philadelphia.
And how did World Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
I went fantastic. It's a really great race and enjoyed my time.
What's your history with Tough Mudder?
Right, so I ran my first Tough Mudder in 2012.
Nice.
And I saw the announced World's Toughest, I think it was that year, or previously. The year I saw it was announced, it's like, I want to do that race. And it has just never worked out until this year. So this is my first time running. I came out and just had a goal of 50 miles. It's like, that feels like a round even number. That's what I want to do. And managed to pull it out and got my 50 miles. And
So you're telling me it's just the number, nothing to do with the fact that it has a sweet round bib?
that's exactly why it was 50 miles, yeah.
So, did it live up to the expectations as an event that, let's see, it's like 11, math. It's been a long time that it's been around, and to finally do it now, did it live up to what you thought it would be?
Yeah, I would say overall, yes. Let's say mostly yes, like 90% of what I was expecting. I think anytime you come out for an event like this, there's going to be something unexpected. So I think some of the challenge I was expecting wasn't there, like the years where I was in Vegas and like the really cold overnights. So I feel like I got off easy on the overnight. But also the heat was a lot more than expected. So a little balance there.
I think and the upgrading of the obstacles and stuff like that wasn't there as much. But even still, like, you put in the mileage too. How does it feel to complete 50 fucking official miles?
It felt really good. I will say I feel like there's always room for improvement, and it leaves me, hungry to come back and try again at the next one.
Speaking of being hungry to come back next year, it's going to be the first year it's leaving the United States. Are you interested in checking it out?
So, yes, I'm super interested. Unfortunately, the weekend is not good for me. Another goal race 2 weeks later, and it's not a good idea to do Worlds 2 weeks before a goal race.
Yeah. Tell me about your other goal races that you have.
So this one's a 100K Ultra in Pennsylvania called the Ironstone.
Ironstone?
Yeah, the Ironstone 100K. So it's in the Allegheny Mountains in Pennsylvania. I think around 7,000 feet of elevation gain. I ran it this year and missed a time cutoff at like 40 miles in. And so next year is my redemption. I have to put my all into it, and that's my goal, my one goal race for the year next year. So
I'm going to ask a question that I'm sure you hear all the time. Why are you crazy in running like more than a marathon? Well, what is it about ultras that appeals to you?
So, two answers. One, I've been running marathons for, about 6 years now. No, it's longer than that, 8 years. I realized I'm never going to be a fast runner, right? I'm not going to qualify for Boston. I'm not going to be fast. And so what was the next way to challenge myself? It was like longer distances. I saw people doing ultras and doing the crazy distances, and that just seemed like the next challenge.
Like talking into a mirror right here. I feel the same way.
Yeah, and the other piece of ultra marathons and like leading into Worlds, I did my first trail race last year, and
Everything was on the roads previously.
yeah, all road races previously, and I did my first trail race, and the aid stations, the food is so much better.
Yeah, they're much better.
It was like, oh, I got bacon and grilled cheese and peanut butter and jelly, and it's just that the camaraderie and the spirit among both obstacle course racing and trail racing is just so much more enjoyable. It's a better community.
I agree as well. How did you do in terms of obstacle completion? What penalties did you have to deal with? What did you think about all that?
So overall, I think the first half of the race, really well, pulled off almost all of the obstacles. Back half of the race, I think I overexerted myself on the grip obstacles, so between being wet and tired, second half of the race, pretty much did most of the penalties. Yeah, and then I've got metal in my body, so always skip electroshock.
And that has a very harsh penalty for this year, too. Usually it's like an optional obstacle, which I think is good, too, because people that have metal in their body or have pacemakers or this or that. But the fact that it was the last obstacle in the course, 30 burpees, was it 30 burpees?
Yeah, it was 30 burpees. I consider myself lucky that I got to 25 miles and got penalty bans before electroshock opened, so I just used a band on it every time. No burpees for me.
That totally makes sense. Because part of me was wondering, like, why would anyone want to skip that one? Because you can kind of, like, swim under it. But if you have metal in your body, you just need to get hit once.
Yeah, it's... I made that mistake a few years ago doing electroshock after I had the metal implant. And I was wondering why it hit so much harder than previous years. And then it was the following Tough Mudder during the briefing. I was actually paying attention. I was like, oh, that's probably it.
And then what advice would you give to somebody that was in your previous shoes about running your first World's Toughest Mudder?
I would say, I guess, 3 pieces of advice. First, expect the unexpected. Something's going to go wrong. Come prepared. Be ready to push through adversity. Second piece of advice, and this comes for all ultra running, stay ahead of food and hydration. At the point that you're hungry or thirsty, it's already too late. You need to be ahead of it. And the third, don't take yourself or the race too seriously. You need to have fun.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on getting your goal, 50 miles. It's pretty awesome, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Christian Brown Johnson from Madera, California.
And how did World's Toughest Mudder treat you this year?
Good. I hit all my goals, and it's kind of surreal to see what happened, but I'm happy. I'm very proud of it, and awesome race.
So you're a competitive, dare I say, elite runner. When it comes to creating goals, what is it mileage first? Is it placement? When does all that come into play?
So my goal for this was 105. That was my goal last year. I hit 100. So number 1 goal was 105. Number 2 was top 3 podium. It's something I've always wanted to do, but that takes, I think, a little more belief in yourself, a little more grit than running 100 or 105, because as you can see this year, it was 115, 110, 105 on top 3. Like, it's some high mileage and 900-mile finishers. But yeah, I mean, that's my top 2 goals.
I should know this, but you've never hit a podium here before?
I've been first place age group quite a few times. I don't know. I've lost track of how many times I've been first place age group, but actual top 3, never.
I didn't realize that. Well, congratulations. That's very exciting. And how did it feel as a competitor too, looking for that as one of your goals? The fact that Ryan Atkins was showing up,
Yeah, when I heard Atkins was there, I was surprised. I haven't seen Atkins run one of these, I think, since he's 18. I think it was team that year.
Yep, it was. I hated him because it was my first year doing it, and I was just completing my last lap. And they come jogging out, having a good time, singing, and I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was cool to see him back. I actually saw him out in Saudi Arabia earlier this year when we went out there to race, and it's cool to see him back. Obviously, he's one of the best, so I knew that. I knew if he ran a clean race, he was going to be top 1 or 2 for sure. So with him hurting himself, I mean, it honestly opened up a spot for me to take on the top 3, and it just everything fell into place. And I was just running easy all night. I just held a constant pace, nothing too fast, nothing too slow, and I just ran where I felt good all night, and I just trusted in my gut, and that's just where I ended up. I wasn't really paying attention to where I was on the board until towards the end, and I just ran my race.
We were specifically told not to tell you your placement, which I get is a good strategy. You don't want anything like that inside your head. But what was it like when it did come to the chasing, having like super nice guy Josh Fiore in front of you, and then super Danish guy Michael Schott like killing it in front too, who previously had taken naps. So I know we're all about in Tough Mudder building people up too, but how does it feel to both want to cheer people on but also want to cut their throat?
Yeah, so I actually ran with Mike when he lapped me. We ran together a little bit through the sand section, and I just chatted with him. And I know how much of a stud he is, so there was no chance I was catching him. I was just super proud of him. And then Josh, I mean, damn, he went out super hot. I didn't go out as hot as he did. I wanted to conserve my energy. And I was pushing. I knew I was close to him all night, but, I think him and I ran a very similar race where we were so just consistent to where I knew at the very end there wasn't really a shot I was going to catch him. And if I would have ran a little bit faster, I could have gone out for the last lap for 110, but I knew he was going out for it. And, I mean, there was really no way I was going to catch him. So it was kind of like, do I want the 110 or am I happy with 105? And to be honest with you, like I said, my goal was 105 and I hit it. And, I'm super, Josh deserved that, Yeah, so I'm super happy for him.
You drive yourself crazy thinking about every little detail of that, but hindsight's 20/20, right? Like, if you went out hotter, who knows if you could have had more issues with hydration or something else could have flared up as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the foreigners over here having a good time. Yeah, I mean, I live where it's hot, but that's not humid. This is a different environment. I got out here early to get acclimated, but Worlds is a long race. The race doesn't really happen until Sunday. So I wanted to make sure I was going to be okay, because usually at Worlds I come out a little hot every year, and then I'm hurting by mile 40, 50, and slow down, and then kind of get a second wind, and then, I go through these phases, but the way I played it this year, I didn't slow down until about 90, 95. And then my body just kind of said, no, you're done. Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't imagine, only just feeling it at that point, but that's a testament to what a good athlete you are. But very, very cool. What are your thoughts on it moving to Beaver Castle next year?
I mean, there's a lot of opinions, I think, on it, right? I mean, it sounds like with what Sean Corvell was saying during his speech and during the briefing that we may never have a WTM here again, right? That's a huge potential, which, I mean, we've all kind of seen that potentially coming for a while now. Yeah. With it being over there, I mean, shoot, I think they deserve it. We get a lot of those people coming over here every single year, and they have for the past, 11, 12 years now. So, I mean, I think they definitely deserve it. Will I be there? Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
My next question is, I don't want to say, unfinished business, but, is there, because you hit all your goals, is there any other goal that you'd want to see with this event?
I mean, the only next goal I have would be to win, just overall, right? I mean, this is my third 100 or 100 plus mile finish at Worlds, so yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, what's next, right? It's like the only thing that's next is, okay, I could take second place or take first place, but it's all in who shows up, right? I mean, I always tell people I'm a normal dude, right? I mean, you can call me elite, you can call me whatever you want. I'm just a normal dude. I train a lot. I try to be the best I can be, but there's some people out there who have been lifetime athletes who are just unstoppable, who if they show up and I try to race them, big things probably aren't going to happen, right? I can try my best, but it just comes down to that. But yeah, I mean, what I would really like to do now, honestly, my wife mentioned she would want to potentially run next year. I told her, I said, I'll pit for you.
That's a great way to experience the event from a different side.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it, right? I've had DJ on my pit the past 2 years with a lot of other good OCR racers. And yeah, I mean, it seems like they have a great time, and I would kind of love to see that side, right? I mean, this is my 9th Worlds. It's it'd be kind of nice to maybe see the other side of it for once.
Well, it was great to see you. Congratulations on hitting all of your goals, and looking forward to when I see you next.
Yeah, thanks, man. But we'll see if I do WTM next year. But other than that, I'll probably do a couple toughest team mutters again, and I've got the Arizona Monster in April.
So tell me about that.
309 miles across Arizona, ultra. Yeah, it sounds scary, but yeah, I'll be ready for it. I'm actually gonna be back in Florida in a month from now doing a triathlon, and yeah, the next race is Arizona Monster. So, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Grant Polson, Hood River, Oregon.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
Worlds for me went fine this year. I woke up Saturday morning with a migraine, so I was dealing with that before pre-race, and then starting the race is generally okay. Not too many effects. Started kicking around third lap. And then by lap 7, it was insistent that I at least take a little nap. So between around 3 to 6, I took a little nap, woke up, got some fresh clothes on, then got back out and did another 3 laps, and that was it. Came back in and finished up 50 miles.
How did the heat play a role in the race for you?
Yeah. Knowing that's Florida and how warm and humid it is down here, I knew to come in extra hydrated, have electrolytes on hand, and make sure that I used them and took enough during every lap to make sure that it didn't bonk or crash and didn't cramp out. There were a few people that got a little crampy on course.
Sandy portions mainly? Or?
Some in the sandy portions. There was one runner who cramped up just after there. I don't know if she cramped up in the sandy portion, but she was cramping after it. So I stopped for a second and helped stretch the calf out. But as long as people stay on top of their hydration and electrolytes, generally they were okay. Not as many cramps as people would expect. And that went really well for everyone. It shows that everyone was on top of their hydration and electrolytes for the most part this race. So everyone knew what to expect regarding the heat and the humidity, so they came prepared. I think otherwise, the heat perhaps slowed down people's pace a little bit, just so they didn't overheat. So it was a more controlled start. You didn't have as many people running breakneck during the sprint laps, trying to pass as many obstacles at the start, and blowing up the heat, blowing up their heart rates. And so they took a more controlled approach to the race, and that probably the heat in that respect helped people elongate their race and run a more efficient race over a longer time.
Yeah.
That's my hypothesis.
So it almost tricked them into pacing smart.
Yeah, the heat and humidity definitely, I think, trick people into racing smarter as opposed to harder, especially this time.
Makes sense to me. And then what are your thoughts on the obstacles that they had out on the course for this year?
For me, that's going to be a different question than others. Since I'm running adaptive and have the one hand, I always approach obstacles differently. Last time I ran Worlds was 2 years ago when I ran Elite. Before that race down in Atmore, I asked if there were a number of obstacles which were overhead or required the use of 2 hands, and I asked HQ specifically if I could use my feet on them, like the overhead cargo net, for example.
Last year they had that as well.
Yeah, I didn't attend last year. I had a kiddo. So the last one that I can reference in person was 2 years ago. Like that one, for example, they said, no, you can only use your hands on it. Couldn't hook the straps, couldn't use feet on it or at all if I wanted to keep my Elite bib.
Right.
So this year I decided to not challenge in that way and just drop down in the adaptive category for the sole purpose of being able to use my feet on obstacles should I need them and approach obstacles more flexibly.
So what kind of obstacles did you end up using your feet on?
So in that way, I've always been able to do every obstacle on a Tough Mudder course except for just the tip, the cliffhanger sort of one. And that includes back when we had Twin Peaks at Worlds, and we had to traverse in between the 2 peaks, and it was definitely reached, but I could still do it. Double Rainbow, I completed that one. Yeah, all of those, King of the Swingers, I was able to do all of them, except for just the tip. So it just takes a little bit different of an approach for me to approach each obstacle. None of the obstacles here at this course I necessarily had to adapt too much to, in order for me personally to complete. But as the race goes on, my right arm gets exhausted and dead a lot faster than a lot of other people's, just because I'm putting all my weight on it. And so I tend to start taking the penalties before everybody, or most everybody else, on them, and just electing to jump in the water, skip Funky Monkey, or some of the other ones. I still get a boost on Berlin Walls. Thanks, Joe. I still get a help on Everest. Thanks, Francis. All those are fine. So yeah, there's definitely a bunch of people out here. Definitely a bunch of people that help me out. Appreciate them all. But that's the name of the game. We're all here to help each other out through all of them, no matter how we approach the various obstacles.
The swinging obstacles, I can imagine being even more difficult. So the only one this year was well swung, which was low, but it's still a tricky obstacle. Being able to grab that with one hand, but also keeping your body centered enough that it doesn't make you spin or anything, how difficult is that?
Okay, the thing about well swung is that one is more of a game of momentum. That one's actually more difficult than King of Swingers. King of Swingers, when it was a bigger rig, it was a much longer pendulum. So I can actually grab it, and I hook with left elbow. So that one motion greatly reduces my range, my reach, but it buys me time to build up momentum during the swing. So once I get out there, I can sort of fling my body at the bell and hit the bell. With such a short pendulum, I don't have that luxury. So can't do anything. So I don't hit that bell. That one is just simply too short. I have not figured out a way yet to do well swung with that short of a pendulum. And I cannot do it with one hand, because if I jump out there and just grab it with one shoulder, body's just going to twist on that and not get anywhere near. So I was not successful at all at well swung this year, but I was not successful at hanging tough, because traversing from the ropes with the wooden platform at the bottom up to the bar, the distance was too far. Because my
you can't reach back and kind of pull yourself either.
Exactly. My reach isn't far enough to do that. Because I'd either have to hook it with my left arm or hook it with my right, or grab it with my right. Either way, I don't have enough momentum or reach to get up that high, because I have to get over the bar somehow. I have done.
What was the penalty for that? Oh, that was where you had to wear the shoes.
Yes. Yeah, that was happy feet, and just put the planks on, walk around the circle, and good. So I just cruise down there and do that every time. Same with Funky Monkey. I went and played croquet. The most difficult one was the penalty for just the tip. Hammering rebar in the ground. That one was a tough one, man.
Also, odd choice to not have that penalty next to the light. Because at least when I was out there, it was really dark, and so it's like, am I to the paint yet? They had to take a flashlight. Like, no, not yet. Keep hammering it. That's a shitty option.
Yeah, I can't remember if there was light there or not when I was there. I think there was eventually. I just can't remember when it was on or not. But yeah, we were just always taking a peek and seeing how far it was. But yeah, making sure you didn't run into a rock as you were hammering that rebar into the ground. And wearing out one arm while hammering that in the ground was super fun.
And then just overall thoughts on the Tough Mudder community. What keeps you coming out here?
That the community is the thing that's been keeping me coming out to these events. I've run a number of Spartan races in the past. I've done the Hurricane Heats. I've done the 12-hour. I did the 24-hour the one time they had it. Yeah, they created it for my group of people, and then we did it. And then they were like, okay, that was crazy enough. You guys are crazy. Go away. This community is just a different vibe and a different group of people from any other community in the OCR space. It's my kind of vibe. Not to be too squishy about it, but it's my kind of people. People that are just out, leave everything else at the door, just hang out with each other, help each other. You're just running around a course for 25 and a half hours, overnight, over obstacles. Everybody's helping each other out. And all you're doing is overcoming obstacles, getting mileage, and building stronger bonds with each other the entire time. That's something that you don't find in any other group or community. And so that's why I've been coming back to Tough Mudder for 12 years now.
And speaking of coming back next year, it's going to be in England. What are your thoughts on the event that's going to be held at Beaver Castle now?
It should be interesting. It should be a great event. I personally won't be able to attend. I have a kiddo. My wife is working, and she's already double booked for that weekend. She's a wedding planner, event planner. So we already have plans. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to work with our schedule. But it should be a great event. UK should put on a great show. Looking forward to seeing what they do.
Congratulations on kicking ass, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course.
Tina Esson, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
So tell me about your history with Tough Mudder.
My husband, Todd Esson, has been running World's Toughest Mudder since 2012, and I was his pit crew for the first time in 2013 in New Jersey.
Okay.
And it was cold.
Yeah.
And I've been his pit crew ever since, but I did join him on course last year as a Christmas present to run with him.
Yeah.
And I found out that I am best suited as a pit crew.
But you came back again, and you got 50 miles, so how did the process go?
Well, I didn't run 50 miles this year. I mean, technically, I was his pit crew, but I would run out to about the 3-mile mark.
Okay, that's good.
And find out what his fuel he needed for the next thing, and I would run back because I am a runner and I love running.
Yeah.
So I would find out how he was mentally and what he needed, and I would book it back. And I tracked all my stuff, and I got 32 miles of running.
Yeah.
Not on course, technically.
Yeah. That's pretty good, then.
But that's how I was able to keep him out of the pit, and he got 75 miles this year.
Yeah.
And because of it, he said I earned his 50-mile bib, and he gave it to me because I got 32 this year, and then technically on course last year I got 25. So he's like, you deserve this bib, so take it.
So talk to me about what makes a good pit crew.
God, somebody who's literally you can't sleep. You have to be there for your person at all times. Somebody who is on it and forcing your person to eat things they don't want to eat, and making sure they're warm before they're cold, and checking in on them at every possible. You can't just wait for them to come into the pit. It's too late at that point. So honestly, having a good course where you can run to a point and check on them and be able to make it back before they come in with obstacles, so you know exactly what they need and how to get them in and out as quick as possible, especially when you're the only person doing it. If you have multiple people and you can radio back and say, I saw them, they need such and such, it makes it so much easier. But I've never had that. So I literally run these courses like halfway out and find out, because you can't ask them on lap before they go out what they're going to need on their next lap, because they don't know. They don't know how that lap is going to go.
I can't tell you how many times I left the pit and I'm like, fuck, I wanted this, but now I'm a mile through and I'm not going to get it for another 4 miles. I hope I remember next time.
Your better option is to find them at least a mile out, or at least a mile and a half out, because then they know, okay, this isn't sitting right with my stomach. Or you know what, I need this lap. So you need to find them, but also like get your butt back to make sure you can make it, whether it's something warm, something cold, something, whatever they need. You need to make it back, clothing change even. Like you got to make it back in time to have all that prepped so they have little pit time. So it's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a job in itself, 100%.
And a lot has to do with course setup. So like in Alabama, no, not Alabama, it was Georgia. They had Coach's Corner where you had the one and only time they ever had quick pit. That was really great because it was 2 miles out and I could run 2 miles out. And I would find out what he needs, and it was a straight shot through a bunch of grass with a ton of spiders, which I didn't know about until after the fact. But I was able to shoot straight out, shoot straight back, and then Laughlin was fantastic too. I would shoot straight to, I think it was the 3 mile mark at Arctic Enema, and I was able to make it right back, and that's the other time he got 75, because I had enough time to get everything. He never came into the pit. If you come in and you sit in your tent, you are not getting your goals.
So you're making it sound like there was something this year, something maybe in the middle of the course, which meant you couldn't go back and forth, right?
The lake was in the middle of the course, so I had to run 32 miles. Like I couldn't just shoot 2 miles across. I had to go all the way around and find him, and then literally run around because I couldn't run the course. So I had to run farther than they were running. because I wasn't on their course, I had to go around what they had in the dark and not fall down and not get eaten by alligators and rush back before he got back to make sure he had everything.
Yeah.
Thank God it wasn't cold, or I would have been in trouble warming up soup.
It was very difficult as pit crew, as a rabbit, trying to get to places, because I'm like, oh, I guess I have to run the course to get to them.
Basically, I mean, if I didn't look at the first half at all, so I don't know what that looked like. But I could get all the way.
You missed the sand.
Well, I could get all the way to Shawshank, which is mile 4, without any issues. Yeah. And I went a little past that in the daylight hours because I could see better. But in the night, I only made it out to Shawshank because I was worried about the gators.
Did you see any of the gators that night?
I didn't, but my husband's last lap, I didn't see those, but my husband's last lap, I kid you not, there were a herd of cows, and he was about 5 feet from them at well swung. And he was staring at them, and they were staring at him, and I was like, if they charge, he cannot run at this point. His legs were done.
Congratulations, you had the most embarrassing death. You know that.
Right. Honestly.
Yeah.
And I was like telling him, like, run. He looked at me. He's like, I'm not running. They're gonna charge.
And then thoughts overall for like, what keeps you coming back to these Tough Mudders, you and your husband?
Honestly, I am his pick. This is his passion. This is the only thing he does outside of our family and work that he loves. And because it is what he loves, I will do whatever it takes to help him meet his goals because it's his joy. And I want to see him thrive in his joy. I will do whatever it takes in terms of helping him to help him, like, I don't know what the right words are, but to be proud of himself.
Yeah.
Because I'm already proud of him doing shit that I wouldn't do, you know? So this was a very emotional year for us because he's been working a lot. We have 3 children, and they are busy, and they're older, and he did not run more than 3 miles at all in terms of training.
Yeah.
He couldn't even get to the gym. And he busted out 75 miles.
Yeah.
Pure heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hurting real bad right now.
I can imagine, yeah.
But I saw a shooting star on course, and it was a sign from God that this was going to happen for him, and this is what he needed. Mentally, physically, like emotionally, it was everything he needed, and it made my heart so happy that he was able to push through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, very late in asking that. Is he here too?
He is here.
Okay, I feel like I need to talk to this man now. But
he is here.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on being a successful pit crew and getting your athlete to do amazing shit.
Thank you.
Todd Esson, Cleveland, Ohio.
And how did your World's Toughest Mudder go this year?
Pretty much as planned. Very sore at the end, but I got 75 miles, which was the goal. Yeah.
So I just talked to your wife, and she was saying that training was very hard this year with kids and this and that, trying to get to a gym. How does it feel to just be able to just get the damn thing done, though?
It was great just to be able to push through it.
Yeah.
Because the training wasn't there, a lot of it became mental, and then just the amount of pain, and you had to push it down to keep going.
Yeah. And how does it feel to have like a pit crew that was willing to run like 30-something miles or something?
32.
Yeah.
That's why I love bringing her. She always motivates me and pushes me to be better than I actually am.
Yeah. I love that. Will Hicks has been very vocal on, if you want a good pit crew, don't use a significant other. And I never liked that excuse because I ran 2018, 2019 with my wife as pit crew, my now wife as pit crew. And you just have to have like a really just badass partner, right?
Yeah, you have to know who they are as a person. Yeah. Like I've used my father before and he kind of babies me.
Right.
And personally, I don't think my friends would push me to the limit that my wife does. And she kind of does it on purpose to piss me off at her, because then she knows it's going to make me keep going harder.
It's a different type of fuel, right?
Yeah.
She also talked about an exaggeration, but a near-death experience with some cows out in the course by Will Swung.
Yeah, the final lap, we were coming up on Well Swung, and the herd was out, and you had to walk past. There was 2 of them, had to be 10 feet off the path. And she's screaming at me, "Run, run!" And I said, "I'm not gonna run. They're gonna start chasing me."
And then the fact that she's like super easy to find, because I remember now she was wearing the same thing, like all the lights and stuff. How cool is that?
Oh, she got a big following on the Christmas lights, and everybody was singing "Oh Christmas Tree" throughout the night to her.
I did hear that a couple times, and I couldn't figure out why. So that makes sense. What? So it's like a beacon of hope coming towards you, and
Yeah, and I didn't know she had Christmas lights. So the first time I found her, she's yelling, "Todd!" And I'm like, "Babe?" And there's just a bright light coming towards me.
Am I dead?
I didn't think it was December yet.
What did you think about the course this year?
There's been better, there's been worse. It was about even. I thought it was a little on the side of a regular Tough Mudder course. There wasn't like a signature thing, and they didn't really change much. They said there was going to be some modifications throughout the night. There really wasn't, but
I think the one quote-unquote significant change was the pyramid squeeze, where they just put a net on it. I heard a lot of
that
people...
was on the whole time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the net was on that the whole time. The only thing I thought they changed was that was there the whole time last night.
For the first lap, I don't think it was.
Oh.
They eventually lowered that because they realized this was a mistake.
And then they added the torch carry to the creek something.
Creek
Crusade.
It was extremely short, but they had to move it there because...
Alligators.
Yes.
Yeah, there was actually, on day one, I saw 3, and then at sunrise, I got to one of the back parts, and just looking in the lake, you can see like 5 of them just floating out there.
Okay, so you took the record, because I've been asking how many people have been seen. I only saw 2, but I didn't run as much as you did.
It was at least 7, because 2 of them might have been the same one, but at one point there was 5 at the same time.
Yeah. So it's fine when they're in the water. I heard some people seen them on shore. Was that nervous for you?
I didn't want them to be on shore, but I thankfully never saw them on shore. Just cows.
And then what's so special about this event to you?
So this was my 11th World's Toughest.
Wow.
And just waiting for it to come every year. Certain people you talk to in the community throughout the year, but you wait all year long to see some of them. And then just at the event, you get to reconnect with everybody. And throughout those, it's been since 2012. It's just amazing getting to know everybody, making friends worldwide, and then just the way everybody is at the race, coming together to support each other.
It's pretty sweet, man. Pretty sweet. And also sweet is the Sweet Bib, 75 miles. Congratulations. You're a badass. You're a Mandalorian.
Thank you very much. This is the way.
Melissa Dugan. I'm from Yorktown, Virginia.
How was World Toughest Mudder 2024 for you?
Really hot. I'm not a big fan of the heat. I love the cold, suffer. I'm a bigger girl, so I got that extra layer to keep me warm. And
insulation.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Yeah.
Really, really hot.
How did that go into your plans for this year?
Well, everything actually kind of went backwards because Friday during pit setup, I got my pit setup had all of the fire ants.
Okay.
And so I've got 7 fire ant bites on my right ankle.
Lovely.
And didn't know this, but I guess I'm allergic to them. So my foot is still swollen. And it surprisingly factored into my race. And I stopped pretty early because I couldn't bend my foot.
Okay.
But, I'm fine. It's pretty oozy and nasty today, but, that's all right.
It's terribly inconvenient. Like, the course got you, but the actual course got you.
Yeah, literally. The course bit back, right?
It's crazy. I think I told you, too. I saw some people arriving with, ant killer, and they were putting it down. I'm like, is it really that bad? It turns out, yes, it is.
Well, yeah, and we did, but it was after I got bit. So it is what it is.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
Well, how did the rest of the course treat you?
Oh, that sand sucked. I kept thinking this whole year when they announced Florida, you're thinking, it's going to be flat, it's going to be warm, it's going to be fast. They got to slow us down somehow. So how are they going to slow us down? Are they going to do really hard obstacles? Are they going to make it really long penalties? No.
Wasn't those two.
Nope. They were going to make you go through half a mile of pure soft sand. So that was very difficult, I have to say. And I'm not used to running on sand, so that made it really hard. But, kudos to Tough Mudder for making it hard when you didn't think it would be.
Exactly. Let's talk about obstacles a little bit too. What did you think about the obstacles that they had out in the course for this year?
Knowing my normal completion, I thought they were very doable. I was able to do most of the upper body obstacles lap after lap. They were still hard. They're still Tough Mudder obstacles, but because it was still mostly dry, we did have a couple short rainstorms. Like just one felt like a sprinkle. It was really weird. Yeah. But generally they were pretty good. I eventually ripped my hand on just the tip, but I thought they were good. The pyramid squeeze, that was very hard.
I had a feeling that would be the talk of the town.
Yeah, that was, if you were a smaller person, I remember I was finishing the obstacle and another group was coming up behind me and there was a smaller woman in the front and she's yelling, I can't, someone has to go ahead of me, because she couldn't even lift the weight of the net on her.
Yeah, and that's something as a casual observer, like you can't really fathom how heavy it is. I was walking the course interviewing the volunteers, and I was starting to walk away and I heard bang, and I panicked like someone's hurt, someone fell. It was just like fucking net hit the thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit, is that heavy.
Every time you dropped the net, it was a very audible bang. Absolutely, yeah, it was tough.
So some people have been bringing up the fact that it didn't have like a signature obstacle. What are your thoughts on that for this year?
Yeah, I mean, doing Tough Mudder for World's Toughest Mudder this is my 10th season. Wow, Sandstorm was my first year. I'm a little nostalgic. I go back and I think of the big obstacles of Vegas. The King of Swingers was, on top of a hill, and it was another 15 feet high, and you had the cliff jump, and there were these big, very epic obstacles. And yeah, I do miss that, but they haven't really had that in a long time, in my opinion. I think they're just doing things that are more doable and more cost effective. And, my opinion at this point, if it means that Worlds can continue to be around for a few more years, then I'm fine with that. Yeah. Because like everyone's saying goodbye tonight here at the bar call, and some of us are saying, I'll see you next year, and we know that, but the people that are saying, I don't know if I'm going, I'm literally saying, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. Yeah. And there's tears, because you're like, I may be saying goodbye to you forever. It's hard.
It is hard. And what are your thoughts on the fact that it's moving to Europe next year?
Oh, I think it's needed. I mean, Eli Nolan, race directors from many years ago, I remember making a comment around them one time and about how you guys must not make a lot of money off of us when you have these massive obstacles. And they said, if we wanted to make money, we would have World's Toughest in the UK. We would make money. That is a huge community.
About to get that money.
Exactly. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's great to have a new venue. I think it's great to have a different time of the year. I love all of it. And I think it's going to bring the communities together even more so, because, we in America have a great community of helpers on course, and the community in Europe has a great volunteer community.
They really do.
It's very different, so they're going to kind of converge, and I wonder what kind of magic will happen.
I like the word magic too. When I was doing the course, like I think a third were from England, which was really, really, or sorry, UK, because they weren't just England. And I thought that was really cool that they came out here just to volunteer. Like that's really, really badass of them.
Oh yeah, it's a lifestyle. Like World's Toughest Mudder is a lifestyle for us. It is a lifestyle for them. They have more volunteers than we ever could imagine here in America.
So hopefully, do you plan to be going out there?
Oh, I got a house book the day after it was announced. I was there when they announced it at Yorkshire. Yeah. So yeah, I'm there, and making a vacation out of it, of course.
That's my plan.
So yeah, going, racing, and then gonna spend a week in Italy. So
the way I see it, is it a financial issue for some people? Probably. That's up to them. But so many Europeans have taken the time to come over here. It's about time we pay it forward. I want a good American presence to show that, like, hey, we want to see how you guys do it out there too. So I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, and I know they're going to bring it. They're going to bring it for every type of part of the whole event weekend. I know that they will, because I think they want to make sure that it comes back there one day. Yes. And they have to make sure that the first year goes well, because if it doesn't, then maybe that won't happen.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm also hoping with the change, which is a little weird to think that like it's not a year away, it's months away. For June. I think that's a weird thing.
It is. I think, though, 6 months, 7 months, technically, really, is plenty of time. My first World's Toughest, I only had 6 months to train, and that was from not even doing anything endurance. Yeah. So I think it's completely doable for recovery to get ready. By that time of the year, most of us are already doing the toughest. Yeah. We've already usually done at least one or two by that time of the year. So I think you just have to plan it a little differently. For some people, it's even better because a lot of marathons and other events are in the fall. And so they're trying to schedule both of them. So I think it gives some people more of an opportunity. Schools are out in the summertime. So it just depends on what your life is, and it may work better for them to have it in June.
Speaking of schools, excellent segue. Appreciate that. My wife is a school teacher. She gets 3 personal days off. She had to use 2 for a wedding 2 weekends ago. She wasn't able to come to World Service Medal because of that. She's been wanting to run this for a while. I'm hoping next year is her year.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I mean, she's going to have all of the best advice from you. So, and she's seen
I hope
it.
so. Yeah,
she's
she
seen
has
it.
seen
She's
it.
been
And
there.
She
She's
loves
seen
it.
us.
She loves the community. Super bummed out that she wasn't able to come out. But what's some advice to people like her or someone else planning to do to the first World Service Mother?
You've got to try to get to other endurance events, Infinity, Toughest, because no matter how much you try to work out on your own. So before we had any Toughest or Infinities,
There's no feeder system.
there was you would go to a Tough Mudder weekend and you would attempt to do multiple laps each day. But until you have to run through the night at a Toughest, you do not understand what it's like to do that and to push through by the light of a headlamp. So as much as you can to do that and get out on course and get familiar with the obstacles.
Awesome. Great seeing you. I hope you have a swift recovery and appreciate everything you do for the community.
I'm just selfish. I want to see everybody, but great to see you too.
I'm James. I'm from Old Bridge, New Jersey.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
It went much better than expected. A lot less pain, a lot more miles, and I got to eat a whole bunch of great snacks.
Isn't that always fun?
Yes. Also, being in the community, seeing people that you only see at events, it was great.
Oh yeah. How much do you think the weather played a role in your success?
Oh, the weather was great. The temperature overnight was perfect. The daytime was absolutely horrible. I felt like I was stuck in the desert, rolling in the sand.
Yeah.
But other than that, no wetsuits needed.
Yeah.
No hypothermia. It was a treat.
Speaking of the sand, what do you think about the course itself?
The course itself was beautiful. I loved the 16 different types of terrain that we got to experience.
It really did. It was a variety. Yeah.
The sand was a good massage on the feet.
Okay, yeah.
It wasn't great to run in, but once you realized it wasn't great to run in, you walked and you got a nice little massage and stretch. It was great.
And then your thoughts on the obstacles out there?
I really liked the placement. It didn't seem like they tried real hard to get us muddy and then do things like Funky Monkey. I feel like it was well thought out so that it was a good setup for success. I felt dry by the time I reached obstacles that I had to hang from. So I was excited for that.
Sure, it says I work out because my wife is hot. Also, she's a beloved member of the community. How does it feel to see so many people proud to celebrate her accomplishment?
I'm beyond excited that she's getting the recognition that she deserves for all the hard work that she's put in for years. It's no longer we're going to events and she's just kind of in my shadow, people knowing me and thinking, oh, that's James's wife.
Yeah.
Because she's the rock star.
Now you're Melissa's husband.
Exactly. I'm the machine's husband. She's the rock star. She's crushing it, and she absolutely 100% deserves every minute of it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. But back to you. Thoughts on this World Service Mudder coming to a close? Any idea? Any potential coming to next year in England?
I'm excited to try to get my body ready for it instead of just kind of winging it like I do every year. I'm also excited for a colder event because I typically thrive in the cold when others don't. So, plus, I love traveling. I love going to new places.
Well, excellent job out there. It's great seeing you every time, and you look like you stayed strong. Congratulations on crushing it out there.
Hey, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Name it where you're from.
I'm Deanna. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Deanna Blake, apparently, right?
Yes, I am Deanna Blake now, also known as Deanna Brasz, but
Fabulous. How did World Service Mudder go for you this year?
not the greatest. I was feeling really, really good, like crushing the miles, and then the sun went down. My asthma got super bad. I had a mental breakdown, spent a lot of time in the pit, but I got back out there when the sun got out, and before the sun came out, and I managed to get 50 miles, but it's not what I wanted.
What was your goal for this year?
I didn't really have a goal, so it's a little surprising that I'm so beat up that I only got 50, but because I was feeling so good, like I thought I was going to get more.
Yeah. Save some time for next year. What did you think about the obstacles that were out there?
Most of them were pretty reasonable. They were nice and easy. I hated Pyramid Squeeze. I hated Shawshank just because it hurts going up that too. Yeah.
No one gets used to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but all the rest were fine.
Yeah. And then, what role do you think the heat was for a factor of how the race went?
Oh, the heat was like awful. Like awful during the day. Everyone, like, you didn't want to go out too fast or you were going to burn out and die.
Yeah.
The night was really nice.
Yes.
It got beautiful there. I mean, I didn't think, yes. And I hated the night because the humidity went way up when the sun went down and then I couldn't breathe.
Right.
But for everyone else, it was lovely.
Yeah.
And then when the sun came up again, it was lovely again until it got hot.
Yeah. It was kind of what I expected from Texas, but even still, I was not prepared for the heat and humidity. It's not like that by us anymore.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Florida. Like my family has gone down there every Christmas. We spent weeks there every Christmas, so I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I was hoping for a little bit cooler because sometimes it gets kind of cool up here.
Right. We weren't that fortunate. Although the skies did open up and rain a little bit, which was beautiful.
That's true. That was really nice. And as soon as those water obstacles opened, like that was prime. Like I was so happy.
Yeah. And then next year it's going to be in Beaver Castle in England. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm really excited about it for everyone else because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it.
It's costly, right?
Yeah, I would love to go, but it's my busy time of work, and I don't have a lot of spare money, so it's expensive.
It is expensive. And your work? With horses, right?
No, I'm in a greenhouse.
Okay.
So
I always see you with the horses, don't I?
I have a miniature horse.
Okay.
She's just my pet.
Yeah.
I know, she's adorable. I love her.
Yeah.
I take her for little runs, but I work in a greenhouse, so spring is our busy time.
Makes sense. Yeah. I think that's a big portion, too, of, like, yes, new location, but new time. Like, if you set aside November for World's Toughest Mudder, surprise it's in June, that is pretty difficult. But I do hope it's a great turnout.
Yeah, I've heard that there's more people signed up now than there was for this past year already, so I think it's going to be good.
I've heard rumors about that, too. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but that would be super exciting.
Yeah, I would love to make it out there. I'm really excited to watch it if I don't make it out, and I know it's going to be amazing.
And then final thoughts on what makes this event, the community, so amazing.
Honestly, it's the community. Like, everyone loves each other. We are a family. Everyone supports each other. The elites are helping each other out on course.
So cool to see.
There's competition, but there's also camaraderie. And you don't find that anywhere else.
Well, great seeing you. We'll miss you next year, but we'll hope to see you in a future World's Toughest Mudder.
Yeah, I love talking to you.
I know. It's like tradition, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, name and where you're from.
Jules, Estes, Southern New Hampshire.
Oh, it's okay to fucking swear. It's okay. And how did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
This will be my 7th World's Toughest Mudder.
Yeah. How was it? What'd you get for mileage?
I had a blast. I had 50 miles, which for me is not the highest mileage, but I just loved it. Like, I had a really good time this year versus some prior years.
Okay, good. How much did you enjoy the temperature?
It was beautiful. Every other year, I've had to wear a full wetsuit because I run really, really cold.
Okay.
And it was just beautiful to be out in Florida with the bugs, and I loved it.
You loved the bugs? Why'd you put bugs and loved it in the same sentence?
I liked the noise of them. I didn't like them going down my throat.
Right?
There was only one lap where it was really bad. And
how weird was that, right?
Yes, at dusk. It was like dusk and they were really, really bad. But they moved on past that and I saw one alligator, one giant cockroach, a lizard, and no snakes.
Okay, good. No snake. I don't like snakes. What are your feelings on snakes?
I thought I fell into a snake viper pit when I twisted my ankle and fell into the side of the weeds, and it was like a 4-foot hole, but I survived.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, I always thought it was a snake, not my ankle.
Yeah, Jesus. What do you think about the obstacles out there?
The obstacles, the first half of the course, I wish there was some water involved.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, so it was not water, and then it was water. There was a lot of sand, and so there was a lot of chafing due to the fact that there was no wetsuits involved.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of as much crawling as there was involved. I would have preferred less. I have a lot of knees and that sort of thing. So first half was dry, second half was wet. but I understand like the reasoning for it. There's only 600 participants, and the fact they put it on and blew it out of the water, I am nothing but impressed.
Shout out to Everett. Did I say it right? I think I got it right. I got it right finally. I kept getting it wrong. Shout out to him. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
The Creek Crusade was supposed to be earlier on the course. Alligators made him move it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, like with what they had, I'm thrilled. Like it was the fun obstacles. It was dry the first half. It was not dry the second half. But I mean, I am just thrilled that they're still doing World's Toughest Mudder with 600 participants. There used to be thousands. Nobody should complain. Everyone should be thrilled that they're putting this event on and continuing like the legacy, and just enjoy everything that you can.
Yeah, and hopefully the numbers go up for Beaver Castle. We'll be seeing you out in England.
I always say never again, and I am not saying that this year.
Okay.
So I've already heard there's good sign-up numbers for next year.
It seems like you've made a lot of friends from the UK too.
They're great. I mean, my Canadian folks, like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I feel like we owe them back after all these years of them having it in the United States and them showing up and supporting it. I feel like we owe them back.
What will it take for you to reach? What was your mileage goal? What will it take you to reach your mileage goal?
So I am actually an elite contender, only due to the fact that I did that many, many years ago. At this point in my life, I am just there to try to participate for the full 24 hours and do what I can. This year I had some, challenges as always. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I had medical issues going into it. I hit 50 miles this year, which is my lowest mileage ever, and I am thrilled.
You just have, as long as you have a good time with it, it's okay. Your goal could be to have a fucking good time.
That is exactly it. It was just to see what I could do. I this time was very joyful on the laps that I actually did do. I laid down for the first time I have ever done through any of these, the last 6 of them. And I really, really enjoyed when I was out there and I got to do the obstacles in success. Like I completed them.
Well, it was great seeing you and glad you had fun. And hopefully see you at Beaver Castle.
Mike Stefano, you are number 1. I love you and Caitlin, so I will see you there.
Thank you so much. I wish I had the confidence that you have in me. I appreciate that.
No, you're great.
Welcome back.
Thank you to the literal hundreds of people that I talked to both on and off the mic, and we will see you at Beaver Castle next year.
Will we?
Oh, yeah, I didn't put that in there. Yeah, I should probably put that in there, huh?
There's nothing to tell.
We're not going to say it on here?
I don't know. Do you want to tell the people?
I think you should tell the people. And this is assuming that people listen to all 4.
Could you imagine if they don't?
Well, then they don't know. They don't deserve to know.
One of us is running World's Toughest Mudder 2025.
Yes. And it's not me.
It's me!
Yeah.
I signed up.
And if you're thinking, deja vu, she said this before, she has a registration. And they're the Patreon video that I teased 3-4 weeks ago that, I teased about was me unwrapping a gift that was her registration and a friendship bracelet that said Pit Crew.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I'm signed up and ready to go. I got us a treadmill. And let's do this.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. A little nervous because...
I'm so nervous.
I know.
My biggest concern, though, is that I poop myself.
Yeah, which is a legitimate concern because...
I have tummy troubles.
Yes, you do. # tummy troubles. I wanted to talk about my experience,
what the people want.
That kind of overshadows all that. I just want to say a huge thank you to all the OCR Report people. I had a great time hanging out with them. The Airbnb was fantastic. We had a mini golf course. We had a pool that everyone's like, oh, it's not heated. But at the end of the weekend, we didn't care if it was heated. We never ended up using most of the stuff there, but it was a very, very cool Airbnb. And I had a great time seeing lots of people, and I hope that next year I will see a whole bunch of other people that are going to be...
And I'll be there.
Helping my wife out in the course.
I've missed the World's Toughest Mudder community since pre-COVID.
Yeah, 2019.
2019. Since I switched to public school.
So you've gone to...
Georgia.
Yeah, 2 World's Toughest Mudders, which is 1 less than Fran. So that's how long it's been. That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. And I'm running one, so if anybody has any advice, I'm all ears.
There's lots of advice in these past few episodes, and I'm hoping that the community, like, it's so cool that like you're registered for it now, and it's like all the awesomeness that I see out there, people helping each other, and like now they could be helping my wife.
And
so.
you guys can follow me on the Instagram. I have an Instagram page.
Yeah, but you deleted all the stuff that you had before.
Yeah, I wanted a fresh start.
I think you should have put like a post on there that was like a fresh start, and like a blank post or something, and you wrote about it starting over.
Too late.
Because people start and finish all the time. Like, the story's interesting when it has its bumps, and the bump was you never fucking registered for the event.
Yep. Well, then I couldn't get the time off. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's couch2WTM. So I'm essentially doing like couch to world's toughest mudder.
Yeah, which is scary. Because when's the last time you did a OCR? You did Gaylord Gauntlet earlier this year, right? Yeah.
And I did a fit challenge recently. And the Spartan race.
Okay.
And DECAs.
Yeah,
we came in second place for DECA teams.
Yeah, I know who we kidding. We're elites. But yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful time. And yeah, the coverage is finally coming to a close, so it feels like it's ending because I've been editing all these interviews and stuff, so everything's still fresh on my mind. But yeah, I guess it has been like a month now, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
4 related episodes. Oh boy. Ranging from 2017 all the way to last year, there's episodes 45, 46, 97, 98, 150, 151, 152, 201, 254, 255, 256, 257, 305, 307, 308, 356, 358, 359, 360, and then last year was 410, 400... Oh no, earlier this year was 410, 411, and 412. So yeah, go back and check those out, especially if you're doing your first World's Toughest Mudder. Those would be good resources. And there's so many other great podcasts out there doing World's Toughest Mudder coverage. We did the most by far, but just gonna pat myself on the back on that. Hopefully the downloads reflect it, we'll see. What else?
Great question. I got distracted. Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Obstacle Running Adventures.
Yeah.
You can support us on Patreon for as little as $2 or as many as $10. If you want to see my World's Toughest Mudder proposal to Michael,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
You can see it over there.
Yeah. And Caitlin did all the editing, which was pretty nice too.
I know. And it wasn't a baby, so surprise.
Yes. The December Patreon video is going to be pretty interesting too. I recommend if you're on the fence about becoming a Patreon member, you join very soon because we have big things that we do every year. The intro and the outro.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, so I have to make those. I'll be making that in Italy.
No, we're not doing that stuff. We're not bringing podcast stuff on our honeymoon.
The episodes will be pre-recorded. That much I planned.
We're doing nothing.
We'll figure it out. But
it's not allowed. I don't think podcast equipment is allowed in Italy.
I have been in trouble with TSA for podcast equipment before. That happens. Caitlin, joke or a quote?
My joke is, what do you call Santa when he takes a break?
What?
Santa paws.
Nice.
And my quote is, love them where they are. If someone is falling behind in life, you don't have to remind them. They already know. If someone is unhealthy, they know. If someone is struggling with relationships, with money, with self-image, they know. It's what consumes their thoughts each day. What you need to do for those who are in that place is not to reprimand them, but to encourage them, to tell them what's good about their lives, to show them the potential within them that you see. What you need to do is love them where they are. When they can't see clearly for ourselves, we need other people to speak greatness over us. People don't need you to tell them what's wrong with their lives. They already know. They need you to reassure them that they can still make it right.
Nice. For a second there, I thought you were reading it all over again, too. Also, the word reprimand.
Reprimand.
Reprimand?
Reprimand?
Reprimand.
Reprimand.
Yes. All right. Do you have a joke, or are we good?
I did my joke already.
You did? I forgot.
Michael!
That just about wraps it up. My name is Michael Stefano.
My name is Caitlin Fritter.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye!
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to our show and write us a review on your favorite podcast app.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook and connect with us there.
Most importantly, we would appreciate it if you shared an episode with a friend so we can reach more ears
and continue to effectively shine a light on the people in our sport, as well as the events that we are so passionate about.
Our intro song is Streaker by Straight Up, and our outro music is Iron Call by The Best.
yet, but sure.
Wonderful.
And I ran last year. What do you, is this too loud?
Nope, I can edit it out. I'm a professional. Not really.
What is happening?
Jealous much?
I think Timber thought it was a new cat.
Like Appa hissed.
No, that was Timber.
Oh.
I thought Timber was communicating that he wanted to leave the room.
Oh yeah, I thought so too. And then they thought it was a new cat. That's scary. I told you that like I completely zone out for like the quotes and stuff.
So rude.
I'm already thinking of like I got so much editing to do. But oh man, it's almost 7. Early and still it's kind of late.
It is early.
Yeah.